My name is Julie, and I am going to present application essay do's and don'ts today for you. Okay, so what are do's and the don'ts? First, when you're doing your application essay, it's important that you know what the institution is asking you for. Um, there are ways to do your essay that are very important to know. Generally speaking, we try to write things in that inverted pyramid, the five W's and an H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Basically, what to write. And we'll be focusing on two of those things that are very important. Then you want to write your first draft and have people get their eyes on it. You might not always be the best person to review your own work. Let someone else take a look at it for you. And you want to refine and you want to minimize. Kiss it. Keep it simple, silly. Less is always more, but you don't want to do too little. You also don't want to do too much. And then you're going to send it off, and usually that's via CASPA. So, what are our objectives today? Well, we want to do some really thoughtful information gathering. You have to take a moment to really think about what it is that you want to say in your essay. This is not the time to really just kind of fly off the top of your head about what you always wanted to say about being a PA, but to put it together in a very meaningful way so that it's understood and you're not off writing in tangents in various different directions. You want to get your first draft done. And obviously, you will find that you are making more than one draft. It'll be first, second, third, maybe even a fourth draft before you finally get down to exactly what it is that you want to say. You want to make an impressive finish. Why should we select you out of a panel of many students who are applying to PA programs? Most schools get hundreds of applications, and it's a lot to weed through. I was an assistant professor at SUNY Downstate for 11 years. And let me tell you, when it came around time to going through all the applications, we shared them amongst faculty, and it's a lot to read. So you want it to be thought provoking, you want it to be interesting, and you want to capture someone's attention early on in the game. That's why we use the who, what, when, where, why, and how method. All right. I'm sorry, I'm going back in the wrong direction. So again, I'm Julie Black-Peart. I have my master's physician assistant studies from University of Nebraska, my bachelor's degree in physician assistant studies at SUNY Downstate College of Health and Related Professions. And I have no disclosures. All right, so excuse me, I seem to be having a little bit of an issue here trying to get this PowerPoint working right today. Okay, so for first skill is read and think. Really think about what are they asking for. When you read your application essay, follow the instructions carefully to the T. One of the things that I've noticed is that it seems like sometimes applicants are not really reading that application essay. Uh, Follow the instructions. Did they ask you for an essay that was a minimum of 200 words? All right. Did they ask you to speak about a specific topic? If they asked you to speak about a specific topic, then you want to make sure that you stay on topic. Okay. Sure, it's interesting to throw in something a little bit different here and there, but staying on topic is really important. We don't want to get too tangential and off in a lot of different directions. So think about the information that you're asked to provide, and that will help you stay the course the entire time you're writing your essay. And then again, when you ask other people to take a look at your essay, they can give you good feedback, constructive criticism about your presentation so that it sounds good to not just you, but others. And then always write the truth without any embellishments. Um, Remember, you will be called to task and asked about your essay and what you wrote in it if you get called for an interview. So be prepared to defend anything that you put in your essay. These types of things are often backed up with uh, the um, the um, the letters that you get from professors, the recommendations that you get from other healthcare providers that you work with during your shadowing experiences, whether that's a doctor or a PA. But keep in mind, when you are applying to PA school, if you can get your shadowing experiences with physician assistants, really that is the very best experience because that shows us that you've taken the time to work on getting those shadowing experiences with a clinician that is the same as that you are striving to be, a physician assistant. Okay, so what's the next skill? Well, let's look at how we're going to go ahead and actually write this essay. You want to lead in, and absolutely that is the most relevant thing for you to be able to do. That who, what, when, where, why, and how comes into play here. But if you notice, I'm focusing on the who and the why. You want to grab somebody's attention. You're stating facts and your statistics. Who are you? What are you about? Okay. When did you first get this desire to become a PA? Where have you been? Let's talk a little bit about those shadowing experiences. Okay. And why do you want to be a PA? It's very important to share. There are a multitude of other healthcare professions that you could go into. A lot of times you need to be able to explain yourself. You may get asked, well, why did you choose PA over going to medical school? Or why did you choose PA over advanced practice nurse? So you want to know the answers to these questions. You don't have to put them in your essay, but knowing the answer to those questions helps to guide you as you're doing your essay and helps you decide what to put in it. A lot of that, the where, will be sharing those experiences for shadowing and talking a little bit about what you garnered during those experiences. And that brings you to supporting information. So, what does this information do? It supports whatever you put in the lead. You start with the very most important information. And then as you go down in your essay, you're going to end up concluding with lesser details and wrapping it up. Mm. So, as we move forward through this presentation, we're going to go over a few samples of what is good to write and what's not so good to write. Those do's and don'ts that will help you make a winning essay for your application. Okay, so here's a sample of an application essay that I was asked to put eyes on. Now, when you look at it, you might say, okay, that's not so bad. But briefly, this is page number 2. Okay. So I'm going to go back to page number 1. When you do your essay, once again, how long it is important. Remember, somebody has to read what you wrote, and you don't want to scare them off by writing way too much. And if you're going to write, of course, it has to be relevant information to what they are asking. Again, going back, read the application, read what they want you to provide in your essay. If they give you specifics, it might just be something as simple as tell us why you want to be a PA, or share with us an experience that you had during your shadowing experience. It could be any number of things, but say, for instance, I'm going to move over to this slide here, which is actually the same essay. And what I did was I ended up for this young lady going through her essay and helping her to learn what was pertinent and what was not. Um, there's a lot here that you can learn. So let's just take a look at a few things. To start, you can see that I wrote some lines through areas where I felt that the information just was kind of not very helpful to especially start off this essay. And it says in the winter of my sophomore year, okay, and she had a roommate apparently that first introduced her to the physician assistant profession. And okay, it's nice to know. I mean, the winter of your sophomore year, okay, but we really just would like to know, when did you first find out about the physician assistant profession? It's not all that a bad thing. But then she went on to discuss about how they both decided to continue, to not continue collegiate soccer, and to end a 15-year-old chapter in their lives, to move forward and pursue a career in physician assistant. Well, okay, that's nice, but um, it shows that she was willing to give something up, which is why I kept some of the information about giving up her collegiate soccer career, because it shows where her heart is. And people change their mind during their education about what they want to study, perhaps what they want to be in the future. This young lady was going to play soccer, and then she decided that that wasn't for her anymore. She learned about the PA profession and decided she wanted to move on to something else. So we did a little redacting here and editing and tried to just give a better idea of what she wanted to do without all the excess fluff. Okay. And fluff is not good. We want to keep it cogent. Okay. Then she wrote here, I'm highlighting, aside from the obvious reasons why many choose the PA profession. Okay, well, the first thing I was like, well, what are the obvious reasons why many people choose the PA profession? Okay. Um, Stick to what you feel is the reason why you're choosing the PA profession, right? Um, Keep it simple again. Stay focused and talk about you and not others. Talk about your experiences. And as you see here on the side, I have some note bubbles where I would say to her, something was nice to say. But sometimes we put things in our essays that are nice to know, but we really don't give that much to the substance of the essay. So those types of things you really want to leave out. Okay. Here's just something simple. It says on the whole. Okay, well, next to it, I put the word overall. um, be concise. As you can see, if they're asking you to do a less than 200-word essay, uh, you want to write not the way that you talk, but write in a way that's understood with the least amount of words that's possible. So we cut out 3 words here by just using the word overall. Okay. And here my young lady decided that she wanted to put some statistics in her essay, and statistics are good. Okay. She wrote here, currently there are just over 100K working PAs. And as you can see here, what I did was 110,000, she wrote. You have to put things, write them out correctly. Just write out the whole number, 100,000. Don't write 110K. Okay. And however, less than 5% are African American and less than 5% are Latinx. These are 2 demographics making up nearly 30% of our US population. And what I wanted her to know, well, I asked her, I said, where did you get that information? And come to find out, I did my own research at the time and found out that that information wasn't all completely up to date. So if you are going to put any statistics in your essay, make sure you're getting your sources from a legitimate source and that it is the most accurate and up to date information that you can find. All right. Be prepared to cite your legitimate resources and defend them. If you are called for an interview, you may be asked about these resources. Where did you get them? Why do you think that's so? There's always something else that goes with uh, whatever you put in your essay that could be a question to be asked if you are invited to have an interview for a PA program. Diversity in healthcare is not only important for patients, but for the future of medicine. Um, I like this. This particular statement tells me that she's given some thought into what healthcare is about in our world today. Um, this young lady was applying to PA school in the most recent round of applications, and she subsequently ended up getting invited to several interviews. And I believe it was either two or three schools that she had. It was at least three schools that she had her choice of, because she did such ultimately a good essay. And I know this looks like a lot, but actually, after I helped her to take a second look and a third look at what she had written, um, I left her on her own to actually come up with a final draft. And I did not look at it again because this is her essay, not my essay. And I wanted to make sure that she spoke about it and finished it off in her own words. And here's another piece of information that you do want to include in your essay. She goes, I am a certified EMT, CNA, and critical care technician. Once again, do put in your experiences, do put in your background that is relevant to becoming a physician assistant. Let people know what you have to offer, what you are bringing to the table. This is excellent. Some sort of background in healthcare is a plus for any candidate. If you have such skills, you want to highlight them in your essay. It makes those reading your essay know, and the admissions board, that you have not had your first exposure to medicine by applying for PA school. And we know that's not the case anyway, because every PA school requires some level of shadowing experience, but you want to be able to let people know that you do have some sort of a background, no matter what it is. So don't worry if you happen to not be an EMT. If you are a biology teacher, if you spent time volunteering at a nursing home, volunteering at a hospital, all of those are relevant and important experiences, and you definitely want to highlight those in your essay. Here, my young lady mentions that she had to educate countless colleagues about some of their beliefs about other marginalized identities, as well as be the voice for many groups. One of the first things that I noticed, and on the side you'll notice I said I said I wasn't a fan of the sentence. Okay, I think it was a little bit too forward. Okay, we all enjoy our experiences, and some of us have expertise in certain areas. But we want to be humble when we're writing these essays. Uh, so just make sure that when you're writing your essays, that you've had a moment to really read it through and double check yourself and what you're saying. You don't want to come off too forward. You want to be humble in your presentation, and you can certainly give your opinion about things, but just do it in such a way that is making a lot of sense. Okay. And she writes here that another key factor in pursuing the PA profession was her shadowing experience. Perfect. Okay. Your shadowing experience, as I mentioned before, really helps to bring out what you understand about the PA profession. You need to be prepared to be able to say that you understand what PAs do and what we're about. And even more so than that, when you're applying to specific institutions, all of your essays should not be the same. That's a definite don't. Be able to put something in your essay that you send to institution A that's specific to that institution. and something in institution B's essay about something specific to that institution. It shows them that you know a little bit about that particular school, and you want to show them what you can bring to the table. Why are you somebody that they should have in their cohort entering the next year? All right. Once again, your shadowing experience is key. Talk about it early in the essay, though. This is not information that you want to be too far down towards the bottom. All right. This is that cogent, relevant information that should be more towards the top in that who, what, when, where, how, why section. Okay. Now, summing up towards the end, you want to have a really great finish. This young lady writes that she has discovered that her life's purpose, what her life's purpose is, and that she wants to dedicate um, her legacy towards being a PA. Okay. It fits not only what I want in an occupation, but I want for the world. I want change, and it starts with increasing diversity in healthcare. I love the sentence. She really kind of puts it out there and doesn't say the usual thing. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those things that people put in their essays that we'd like to see maybe done a little bit differently. But let's look at some fourth skills. And the very best time that I ever had when shadowing is a line that somebody might put in their essay. Well, instead of going, oh, well, the very best time that I had, how about something like my most rewarding shadowing experience? And then embellish a little bit more on that. How about something like, I always wanted to be a PA so I can help people? Well, very, very common. Um, all right, everybody wants to help people, right? Healthcare speaks to the person that I am. Becoming a physician assistant will allow me to fulfill a desire to impact the health of others. That's in there. I have a typo. Um, uh, this is a better way to get that point across without just saying I want to help people. Okay. And what about this one? Let's say you wrote there was a lady at the hospital who was being seen by the PA, and that was how I first found out about physician assistants. Okay. Uh, the lady at the hospital is nice, but that's again one of those lines that's a nice piece of information, but not necessary to know, not germane or really as important. What's more important is how you found out about becoming a physician assistant or how you found out about the PA profession. So a good change would be while shadowing at XYZ hospital, I met PA John Doe. He allowed me to shadow for 40 hours in internal medicine. We went over cases and he answered questions about his role there. So this sentence tells us a lot more about how a person found out about the PA path, right? You mentioned a specific hospital. You mentioned the name of the PA that was shadowed. You mentioned the amount of time that was shadowed with the PA. Uh, Giving an idea of how much time you've spent shadowing and in what areas you shadowed is really important. It gives us an idea that you've had a good opportunity to experience the PA profession with PAs in areas that are germane to healthcare. Now, over time, once you become a PA, if you are so fortunate, you might work in any particular area, be it dermatology or cardiology, right? But trying to get those shadowing experiences in areas like internal medicine or surgery really give you a greater swath of experience in healthcare. So if you can get those, it's really good. Even in the emergency medicine or one of those current urgent care centers is a good place to see if you can get shadowing experience and show that you spent time asking questions. Going over cases is a good way to learn about what the PA does. You want to be able to write what you did. You went over x-rays, you went over lab results, that sort of a thing. And the last skill here is before you send it off, and usually that's via CASPA, you want to know your application deadline, right? There's nothing worse than missing your application deadline. So getting this essay done and everything else that goes with it is really important. You want to make sure there are no spelling errors. Use a spell checking tool. But when you do that, you also want to be careful because your regular spell check doesn't always give you the very best. There are others that you can use. I don't want to endorse any particular one, but there are other spell checking tools that you can use that will help you along the way. Using correct punctuation, run on sentences are not good. So you want to make sure that you use correct punctuation and good grammar and syntax. Okay. You want to arrange your sentences so that they make good sense, all right, so that you don't sound like you're flying off the handle and going in all different directions. Everything needs to flow smoothly. Okay, you want to make sure that you eliminate the fluff. I showed you a couple of examples of that. um, Keep it really clear, all right? uh, don't run off talking about your experiences um, with your friends, and during biology class. Okay, we had a great time in biology class and that sort of thing. Just keep it simple, keep it right on target, and be concise and be correct in everything that you write. Okay. And then one of the things that is a huge don't, or at least for me it is, it's very simple. Know that it is physician assistant, not physician's assistant. Um, we're a profession that works with the physician. Um, this is the law of the land. This is the way this profession was built. And uh, the term physician assistant with that apostrophe S means a lot to us who are in this field. And for those of you who may know, at some point down the road, we will be known as physician associates, because this gives a better description of the role that PAs play in healthcare, because we are more than just physicians. You may be this person one day. Perhaps you're the PA that works in geriatrics. Perhaps you are the PA that works in radiology. Perhaps you are the PA that works in primary care. Or perhaps you end up being the PA that works in pediatrics. No matter what PA you are striving to be, and you may not know who that is just yet, you have to get there first. And the way to get to this is to start with a really great essay. So thank you and good luck.